Good evening everybody, and you're very welcome to day 3 of the Naomh Eanna Cheltenham preview 2021. How are you, Billy?
The very best, Michael, the very best.
And how did you get on today?
Today really was the day that sorts out the men from the boys, and unfortunately I ended up in the boys end of that, Michael, but there was a few good guys there came up, you know, some nice scores. We'll go through them at the end, but it was a great day's racing, and again the Irish came out on top, and none better than herself here, Rachel Blackmore. Brilliant what she's done. She was on the floor 3 times yesterday, back up and winning races again today. Unbelievable.
She was something else the way she got up every time and just kept going. She was fantastic, and it was a tough start today, Billy.
It was a tough start because a lot of people had the Naomh Eanna in the first race, and it went down at the fourth, so it was the double points and the first race went out the window very quick. But it was tipped here. Your guy AP McCoy had the winner tipped here at Cheltenham House, so it was a good. If anyone has that, there wouldn't be too many more to happen. So he said he's gone up the leaderboard, whoever it was.
Yeah. And look, so what we're going to do there this evening, look, we're going to try and keep it moving as quick as we can. Apologies for last night. We couldn't get the link through till about 1 o'clock this morning. We had some technical issues. The Wi-Fi wasn't playing up, so apologies for that. Hopefully we'll get it up tonight, and please God, you will actually be looking at it tonight, Thursday night, and not tomorrow, Friday morning. So if that is the case, our prayers to the Child of Prague will have been answered. So okay, we're going to kick off with again the one question on everyone's lips. Billy, every day it's the same. Have you been talking to the bear?
I was, sat down, had a bit of a chat with him there today, and
okay,
you know, he's retired from the horses end of it. He has, but he said, look, I don't back in junior matches anymore. I will give you the 1, 2 and 3 in the Gold Cup tomorrow. That's senior hurling, he says. So again, as I say, he's gone away from the horses. He's gone more into GAA betting now. And he was telling me there was a big bet going on around South Wexford there. Some bookie down around Pearstown. Has one up, and it's to do with the local championship. A lot of anti-post betting there, and to do with the new rule that came in.
What's the new rule?
The sin bin, you know, and it's only tried for the first year, but there's a big gamble going on, even money, that the 2 Malai brothers, that's Gary Bingo Numbers Malai and his younger brother Owen Stitches Malai, will spend more than 6 hours in the sin bin in over 4 of the championship games this year. So the Bear didn't get the money, and I think the Martin's boys actually smashed that one off the board when they got the chance there, so it'll be one to keep an eye on there later on in the year.
Well, look, I hope that's not the case, because they're 2 very important players for us, so please God, now that won't be the case. But speaking of Owen Malloy, we do have a point of clarification from last night that we just do need to go through. So those of you on the WhatsApp group will have noticed Owen Malloy was online last night. Rumour has it he was actually drinking the remainder of the Heineken cans that Gary had for the bingo on Friday night. He found them under Gary's bed. So you may want to check that, Gary. But look at his online antics. Again, as we said before, the integrity of this Cheltenham preview is of utmost important to us. And his online antics have meant that the Cheltenham preview committee have suspended him for 48 hours. Now, this has been reduced to 24 hours upon appeal. So we look forward to welcoming Owen back tomorrow. Billy was very upset actually by one of Owen's comments last night when he called Billy the goat. But I did notice Billy did chirp up a bit when I explained to him what the goat actually meant. So
yeah, I did. I lost a few hours.
All's well that ends well.
Lost a few hours sleep over that one, I have to say, Michael. But when you explained to me, well, you know, I was happy enough there.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to move on with day 3. So, as we said, it was a bad start to the day for many, but it got better, I think, as the day went on. And we look at how our tipsters went for us. So we're going to start with the 120 today, the novices chase, and there was only word for one horse today, Naomh Eanna. How did that go, Billy?
Well, on the forward fence, you could hear a lot of people taking a big deep breath because it was disappointing for him. He hit the forward fence and went down. And that was a lot, as I said, double points there, and there was a lot of double points went out the window. But the winner of it, actually, as I was saying, was backed by your own man there, AP, at Chantry House. I think he was around 6 or 7 to 1, I'm not too sure, but nice he was tipped here last night, but everyone still went with Naomh Eanna. But that Naomh Boy Eanna won't lose too many other races, I'd say, you know, but just unlucky the way he got caught.
Yeah. Then the next race was a hotly contested race, the handicap hurdle 155. Colin Funge had gone with Imperial Alcazar. Liam Spratt, Podge Dwyer, Bun Fennell, AP McCoy had all gone with Boss's Oscar, which had a Wexford connection. And Paddy Burney had gone for Mrs. Milner. So what about that one, Billy?
Yeah, I think it was trained by Paul Nolan, a good Wexford man, and it was nice to see it. But fair play to your dad for pulling that one out, because you know, he was a good price as well, and it was great to see him get a winner. You know, it's nice when a local lad gets a winner, and fair play to Paul, done a bit of hurling, senior hurling for Wexford, they did, in fairness to him, so it was nice to see him get a result there over in the big day.
Yeah, so good. And Boss's Oscar came in second, or the Boss's Oscar, so that brought us on a few points. Next one was the Ryanair Chase. What about that one, Billy?
Yeah, I sort of pulled back a few points here myself. Allah was each way according to John Shield, but he ended up winning it, and it was the same. Your dad had him tipped there as well for to come through. He came through. Imperial Aura was also tipped but didn't come anywhere. AP actually tipped Min on that.
That's right.
But it didn't come out. But Aloha each way was a lot what people were saying last night, and he ended up winning it. But I was happy enough to got a few points for that one myself. Yeah,
and actually we commented last night, or this morning by the time we came through to you, we commented that John Shield had given us 3 good outside bets. The first 2 hadn't come up, but Allaho came up trumps there today, so that put a smile on our faces. So then we're into the 305, the Stayers Hurdle, and again some good tips, or there was a lot of different tips given in this one. So Billy, how did this one fare out?
Yeah, I think there was 6 different tips given out for this race. Sayers de Burley was one. Vindication, I think Gareth Fitzpatrick pulled that one out from underneath his wig. I'd say he might be putting it back under it tonight. Didn't come. Paisley Park, Time Hill, Flowing Porter was the one, and got a few points on that one as well with Flowing Porter. But a great race, and a great win for him. So Flowing Porter came through there, and you know, as I say, a nice one to get. He wasn't the favourite, but the favourites, a lot of lads just going for the easy option, going for the favourites here, but a lot of them are up at the top who did go for the favourites, I suppose, but it was nice and a good win there. Yeah,
and Paul Fennell had given us that one, so thanks Paul. And then the last race of the 5 for the day was the Handicap Chase, and this was the one. This is the race we'd been waiting for all week. We'd waited patiently, we'd reviewed it, we talked about it, and this was the one with the shunter. Now the challenge was thrown down, the gauntlet was thrown down last night on another horse. But Billy, how did this one go?
Well, the 2 guys that threw the challenge down tried to contact him today, but they're gone to ground. Couldn't contact him today, but you would have to say fair play to Shane McCookie in there. He's actually been tipping this horse since last Christmas, I think, and he came up and it was a brilliant race. It was, you know, anyone who saw the parade and everything after, and you know, it was just a delight to see him win. And you know, fair play to Shane. As I say, them other guys that threw the gauntlet down, I think it'll be this time next year before they start giving us tips again. But the second place, Fairglass, there was a few had that as well, which brought in a few points. Caribbean Boy was tipped by Kieran Funge, didn't come out anywhere, but the shunter was the big one. A Wave of the Sea was the one that threw the gauntlet down, and he's still out waving at the sea, I think, on that one. But fair play to Shane, he gave it to us. If you didn't take it, it's your own fault at this stage.
Yeah, I think that put a smile on a lot of our faces anyway. Okay, then the last 2 remaining races of the day. There was a lot of talk for Glens of Antrim in this one. But it was that lady again. It was Rachel Blackmore on Tell Me Something Girl who won that one. Another great win for her. Fantastic ride. And Glens of Antrim came in 6th.
Did you? And at one stage you'd say maybe he was there, but in fairness to, and I think Ruby Walsh and AP McCoy commented after the talent that this girl is, the way she's able to manoeuvre the horses through the field. It's not an easy thing to do. To ride a horse on its own down the field is hard enough, but the way she's able to coach him basically through different horses, and the way she finished it, just she's had an exceptional Cheltenham. But I think, you know, from the word go, I think there was someone talking about her after, and remember when she was on ponies and she was taking on fences that you wouldn't jump on with a horse, and she's no fear, that's for sure, but she's a serious talent and brought a lot of excitement and history to the Irish boys over there. Yeah.
And then the last race of the day, the 450, was won by a horse called Naomh Eanna. Holden Oath had one that had been tipped. Plan of Attack was another, but Naomh Eanna did the business in that race. Okay, so where's that left us with the leaderboard? We're going to look at 2 leaderboards. We're going to look at Thursday, and then we're going to look at the overall, how we're doing as within the club. So we look at the bottom for the day. A couple of notable ones. Paul Murphy Jr. didn't have a great day today. I think we built him up too much last night.
We gave him a heavy building up last night. I think the pressure must have told Michael on that.
He was going big today, and it didn't go. Joe Comerford was another one showing up there. Darren Cullen from the complex didn't go so well today. Mary Shield, Eileen Cullen also turning up there in the bottom. But the top for the day that was in it, Carmel Conroy coming in 5th for the day, 63 points. Lisa Kenny coming in at 64. Pat Doyle, 69. P&H Doyle, selector, joint manager with the senior team. Anthony Redmond, 70 points. Well done, Anthony. But the winner of today, and the winner of the 20 to 20 euros for today, is Marie Livingston with 84 points. A fantastic score considering that the favourites didn't win the first 2 races. So she obviously knew something we didn't know. Well done, Marie, and Tony Malloy will arrange for that 20 euros to go to you. And you dad there.
You actually mentioned Lisa Kenny there. She was Lisa Murphy before she moved out to Cranford, married Jimmy Kenny there. She actually had a Yankee up there today.
Right.
And a good strong GA St. Linda's woman who carries the green and white out around Cranford anytime they're playing. So fair play to her. It's nice to get a Yankee up there and get a few bob as well.
Very good. And where does that leave us with the overall leaderboard within the club? So overall, after 3 days, Pat Doyle is number 1 on 249 points. Joint second then is Sully O'Sullivan, junior.
Senior.
Okay.
Senior. I clarify that.
Sandra Burney. Shane McGuckian is in 4th. Reno O'Sullivan is coming in 5th on 237. So there isn't much that between them. So Rena and Nonce by Noct and De Breyer. Michael De Breyer Dwyer's after coming in there on the blind side out of nowhere. So he obviously had a strong day today also.
They say the cream comes to the top in the end, and it's certainly come to the top there. Some one or two there we well used to tipping horses.
Yeah, so Pat Doyle's on 249, and there is 12 points between himself and 7th place, which is Michael De Breyer Dwyer. Then Louis Cullen 8th, Roisin Wheatley 9th, and Podge Cronin 10th. So there's our top 10.
Yeah, Pat Doyle, a bit like Paul Hennessy there. Usually known for his greyhound, but knows his horses as well.
Right. And then the bottom, John O'Connor, possibly not from the Fowler, Mary Shield, Pori Keegan, head coach Mick Morris, and Mary MacDonald. So good luck now tomorrow. Maybe you can influence that. The overall leaderboard, so Pat is on 249. The overall top score is 284. Pat's coming in 39th overall, so out of whatever 5,400 players, to have someone in the top 40 is excellent. So good luck tomorrow to everyone that's right up there at the moment. So that brings us on to day 5, day 4, the final day of the festival. Billy, the first race, the 1:20 p.m, the Triumph Hurdle, and there's 2 horses we're hearing about, but it's very strong word for one horse there. JK actually was on to me today, who will remain nameless, and this one tomorrow is his county final, or his exact words to me. So Billy, the 1:20.
Yeah, the 1:20. Zana Hare is seemingly big in a lot of people. John O'Connor has a tip there. Liam Spratt has gone for Trionic. Zana Hare, Podge Dwyer, the Bun Fennel, who was joint top scorer, I think, as regards tips today with your father, 2 wins in a second. He has Zana Hare as well. Then we go down. Daniel Watkins is going from tipster in the Irish field, goes for Trionic as well, and Ulrich.
Ulick.
Just touched it tonight was Zana Hare as well. So but there is another horse in it there, and I certainly would fancy him as well as Henry the Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. The girl herself, 11-4. Quilixus is the name of it, and rated 147. Has won his last 3, so I'd be putting that in there with them 1 or 2 as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all if she'd come up in the frame.
Okay, very good. Next race is the 155, the handicap hurdle. And this there weren't too many tips for this one. People kept away from it. But the Bun Fennel, Paul Fennel, and Daniel Watkins do have 2 for us here. Billy?
Yeah, the one is going for third time lucky, and again, the way he's going, this is nearly first time looking, but it's Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton there, and he's had fourth in his last race, but had a few wins in front of him before that. So he's the one the bun is going for, and Edwardston is another one there in the betting here. He's in slightly in as regards one of the favourites. A lot of horses in the race now, but he's in there, and at the minute he's I think he's nearly third favourite, but he's the only two that anyone is really pushing for at this stage. Myself, I would, I have it down as I'm going for third time lucky. I'll follow the bun on that one.
Okay, thank you. Next one then is the 230, the novices hurdle, and there's a lot of talk on this one. One there actually, Paddy Burney has a Statler, and Statler is one that was due to run in the Thursdays Jason Gorn back at the end of January, but they chose to keep him for this race in Cheltenham instead. And actually the owner, this is the Alfred Bartlett, and the owner is actually the sponsor of the race, and the comment that was made about him back at the time was he's going to win back his own money. So Statler is certainly one to look at. Who else have we got in that one, Billy?
Again, Daniel Watkins, this guy from Wales who tips, he's going for Barbados Books. There is you had something there yourself, Michael, on a horse with the name of Duffelcoat.
Is it in this race?
You have him down here for this race anyway, so we'll just see. Maybe
I wasn't sure whether it was this one or another one later in the day.
I'm down there with Barbados Book. Won his last 3 races. Paul Nicholls, Harry Coblin in there. They're probably really screaming out for a winner over in England at this stage, and looks like maybe he might be them. But there's Admiral there as well, Tom Lacey and Richard Johnson. He's had his last 3 wins as well, and he's rated fairly highly. So it's hard to pick one there, but everyone seems to think that anyone that we basically talked about Barbados Books seems to be the one.
Okay, but keep an eye on Statler as well. Okay, then the big race of the whole festival, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. You heard Dawn Run music there, a great winner of it back in the 80s. And we've a lot, there's 3 horses being spoken about. John O'Connor from the Fowler actually has Royal Pagale as well in this. He was very sweetened in another race, but then he got entered here instead. So he's going to stick with it, Royal Pagale. But then there's only 3 horses being spoken about. Oh, we have another one, but yeah, we have one more from Garrett Fitzpatrick. But what are we talking on this, Billy?
Well, you could pick any one of 5 horses. It's a fairly open race, to be honest with you, Michael. Most pundits will probably go for Alboom Photo, and the Bear, funny enough, is going for the Alboom Photo for the first. Champ to come in second, and a plus third. That's his 1, 2, 3, and he hasn't given us any more on that. But a lot of seriously good horses in this. Might be a bit much to ask Alboom Photo again, but the boys across the water are not too happy that they don't see him out too many times during the year. I think he's only out once or twice, and then he goes over and takes the big one in England, which doesn't make him too happy over there. But I'd have to stick by him. I've had him the last 2 years, so I'll go from here again. Champ, Nicky Henderson's and Nico de Boinville, he had good horse as well, and I suppose with the JP McManus colours, they'll be looking for one. There is it's a Frodon, and England, I think, a serious amount of this. Won the King George, and Brownie Frost is on it, but Paul Nicholls a trainer. But as I say, you could go for any one of 5 or 6 horses. This is a really open race, as we say. It's the senior hurling final really in as regards the racing calendar. So no, I'm going to stick with Alboom Photo on that and see what you think yourself, Mike.
Okay, we've a good each way bet from Garrett Fitzpatrick, Kenboy. But the horse I'm actually going to go for is Champ. It is, and a lot of people who've Tom Byrne has gone with Champ, Paul Fennell Alboom Photo, John Byrne Champ, Paddy Burney Champ, as you said the Bear. Daniel Watkins is Champ. The field talked about a plus tard or a plutard. But the reason Champ for me, it's JP McManus owns it. Tony McCoy actually founded firm, and it was named after him. So Champ is the one that I'm going to go with. Then we're into the 3:40 p.m. the Hunter's Chase, and this seems to be the local tipsters. It seems to be 2 versus 2. Colin and Kieran Funge have both given us stand up and fight for this one. They've joined forces together. But then there's another tip coming from 2 people as well there. So where are we on that one, Billy?
Yeah, it came to pass. It's been tipped here by Daniel Watkins, Billaway and the Bun Fennel. So you can't write him off, that's for sure. Stand up and fight. And one I saw myself there, and I Stalker Wallace. It's the name of the Limerick GAA grounds, their grounds for training. That it's actually the club of JP McManus,
Right.
and the colours that he wears, the colours that he carries on his horses is actually the colours of Stark Wallace. They're a GAA club down in there. So I'm just to stick with the GAA trend. I'm going to go for Stark Wallace in the.
Very good. Yeah, and Liam Spratt has Bill away also. So then we're into the Mayor's Chase, second last race of the festival, and we've been given one horse has shown up. Liam Spratt has one called Cool Reevy, but other than that, Colin Funge again. Colin has saved all his best tips till the last day. Paddy Burney, Daniel Watkins, Ulick Burke have all went with Ellie May. So anything to add on that, Billy?
No, that Cool Reevy actually has won his last 3 races well. Willie Mullins and Paul Townsend, the second last race at the Cheltenham Festival. He wouldn't be writing Willie off. He likes to leave his mark going out to get in the last few.
Yeah.
So I think if it was me and one or two have gone for as well, Cool Reevy there for the maybe come up and trumps in that one.
Okay, Ellie May it'll be for me. The last race of the festival, we've only one tip, and that comes from Daniel Watkins. The local tipsters didn't come near it. I must have made all their money at this stage. I have none left. So Daniel Watkins has gone for Champagne Gold in the last race. Billy, have you anything to add to that?
No, I suppose John Joe O'Neill has one there, Dreamberry. It's a French horse as well, owned by JP McManus. It seems owned every second horse that's going to Cheltenham. There's a lot of horses out there, but there's a bit of money for him as well, you know. And then there's an Irish horse there, David Pipe actually has it, and Richard Patrick is riding it. It's a Mantihal. It's an Irish horse, and he's won his last 2 races. Be a bit of money for him as well. It'd be interesting to see who the favourite for it is. The favourite actually is Gentleman de Me. Langerdan, it's a good name. A few people might back it. A few lads down around Cork might back that one alright. But no, it's a good race to finish up on, and most people will have finished and have their money in the pocket, and most Irish ones are on the way home at that stage, you know.
Yeah.
But you'd have to say it's great racing there tomorrow. It's ideal conditions over there, ideal conditions over here to be looking at it as well, and it's one day, a great day to be looking at. Pity this time last year I had a serious day out myself and with a lot of guys, and won't happen this year, but we will enjoy it. And as I say, this thing that Naomh Eanna put together is a big help, and it's very enjoyable. It gets a bit of a crack going between the club, and it makes a few bob for the club as well. So fair play to everyone who's involved as regards, you know, up and running. And Tony Malloy had a lot to do with it, but there's other people who've helped him out there as well.
Sheen had a lot as well, yeah.
Yeah, so fair play to the boys, and well done too.
Okay, so look, we're going to wrap it up there because we don't want this video to be too long, so that we can get it out before 1 o'clock in the morning. Well done again to Marie Livingston, who's our winner for today. Well done to Pat Doyle, who's our top overall. We look forward to welcoming Owen Malloy back tomorrow into the fold, and we wish you all good luck tomorrow. Choose wisely, and we'll be back tomorrow night for the finale, and we'll reveal our winners of the overall, as well as the winners for Friday, as well as the overall winner of the Naomh Eanna, which I think is what everyone wants to know. So it'll give that person bragging rights for till this time next year. So we'll talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks for your time, and good evening. Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Michael. Well done.